9. Woman paralyzed from the waist down. In 2018, Emma Carey had been just 5 days into her 3-month European backpacking vacation when she chose to do a tandem skydive in Switzerland. She had said, "I'd always known I was going to skydive in this exact place. I wasn't nervous. I was just so pumped up to get up there and do it. When we jumped out, I remember it was the most incredible feeling. The free fall is so peaceful. You are just so present in the moment." But the sensation of exhilaration was brief for the 20-year-old wanderer. Just as she and her instructor were nearing land, she felt the instructor tug at the chutes to deploy them. "I felt us slow down a bit, but the chute wasn't above us where it should be, and my instructor wasn't answering me. The closer we got to the ground, I realized something was really wrong. While the exact cause is still unknown, it appeared that the instructor released the parachute a bit too late, causing it to get intertwined with a backup chute that had been pulled at the same moment. The instructor's chutes failed to open properly and got knotted around his neck, choking him till he passed out. Emma slammed into the ground with a thud. The instructor fell on her back while she sprawled on her stomach. "I kind of wish I did pass out, so I didn't remember it all," she said. She adds that it seemed like forever before anybody rushed to their rescue, since they didn't land in the authorized area. "We were in the middle of a field, so we had to wait for my best friend to land and get to us. They eventually managed to flag down some people nearby and use their phone to call the rescue helicopter." Emma suffered spinal cord damage at L1 after breaking her back, and she also broke a few teeth and damaged her sacrum, pelvis, and jaw. The severity of the injuries left her paralyzed from the waist down. Carey's optimistic approach helped her heal and recover from the tragic ordeal. After spending a month in a hospital in Switzerland, she spent 3 months more in a hospital in Sydney. Doctors told her that she would never walk again, but several months later, she took her first steps with the help of a walking frame. She progressed into using 2 crutches, 1 crutch, and now she can walk independently. 8. 2 skydivers spiraled to the ground. Last year, an incredibly frightening video captured the instant when 2 skydivers spiraled to the surface following a chute impairment. From the video clip, it appears the skydivers fell fast before striking into a home at Titusville, Florida. When the chutes failed to deploy in time, a skydiving instructor and pupil were left severely injured. Both were taken to a hospital in serious condition after narrowly surviving the fall. The jump was scheduled via Skydive Space Center, and as per its Facebook page, the facility, which claims to be a home of the world's highest jumps at 18,000 feet, resumed on May 2nd after being closed to the COVID pandemic. According to the fire department, the 2 men were treated before being sent to the hospital. News reported that Fire Department Chief Sutton said they were responsive following the accident. According to a press release from the city of Titusville, the men were in grave danger following the accident. Christina Renfro, who witnessed the tragedy, said, "We just watched them go down over the tree line. There was nothing you could do. He went into a pretty nasty spin. At first, we thought he was having fun and showing off, but it was pretty evident shortly after they were in trouble." Christina Renfro also posted a video of the collision on Facebook, describing, "They hit the ground hard. This was a tandem jump gone horribly wrong." As they plummeted, the skydivers smashed into a tree on the front lawn of a house. The Titusville Fire Department shared photos of their parachutes intertwined with a tree branch on Facebook. The transport helicopter that carried them to the hospital was also seen in the images. According to preliminary investigation, the divers were part of a parachute jump from an aircraft that took off from Dunn Airport. The 2 men were given first aid and then airlifted to the nearest hospital. 7. Bear GRYLLS. To this day, the agony of damaging his back in a parachuting mishap 25 years ago haunts Bear GRYLLS, the British adventurer stated in an Instagram post. The creator of the hit program Man vs. Wild indicated that he is in torment every day due to the injury. A chute failure during a skydive in Zambia in 1996 caused the TV personality to land hard on his back. After breaking 3 vertebrae from the fall at just 21 years old, GRYLLS had to undergo a year of therapy to regain his lost movements and strength. Fans have hailed the celebrity for his bravery and commended him for his honesty. GRYLLS became the youngest Brit to reach the pinnacle of Mount Everest only 2 years after this terrible accident. People often ask him whether his back suffers because of the parachuting mishap, which the 46-year-old addressed with a response that read, "Every day." His treatment for the injury and the ongoing pain is harsh, but he believes that life is a fight for everyone. He also said that he takes cold treatment every day to maintain his body and mind in good shape. He is thankful for the chance at life and chooses to live it to the fullest. 6. Lone survivor. Dan Brodsky Chenfield, a veteran skydiver, survived the world's deadliest skydiving accident. On April 23, 1992, a group of 22 people boarded a small aircraft for what was to be routine skydiving. Dan had been skydiving since the year 1980, and he was a true professional. All that Dan remembers is that the jet soared into the sky. The next moment, he woke up in the middle of a dream, unsure of what had occurred but convinced that something was seriously wrong. Dan was unable to move. It turned out it had already been 6 weeks since the plane had taken off. Dan was in the hospital, having just awoken from a coma. He later found out that 16 of the 22 people on board had died, while the others were seriously wounded. Dan was then informed that the aircraft they had taken up to skydive from had crashed. Dan himself had broken several bones, including his neck and skull. One of his lungs had collapsed too. He was extremely fortunate to have survived. Doctors treated Dan's injuries, and he went on to jump again in the future. He didn't let the event derail his professional aspirations. Dan delivered presentations and established himself as a motivational figure in the skydiving world. He often talks about his near-death experience and triumphs to inspire others to succeed and prevail in life, despite all odds. In professional skydiving, he is known as one of the biggest competitive skydivers. This was one skydiving incident where the mishap occurred even before the divers took the plunge from the ill-fated aircraft. So you see, it's not only about the landing or the chutes opening in time. The dive in itself can go wrong in many ways. 5. 9 people killed. In an accident similar to the 1992 skydiving aircraft crash, a small aircraft transporting a party of skydivers plummeted in Sweden this year. The DHC-2 Beaver single-engine aircraft crashed near the runway and soon erupted into flames only minutes after departure from the Arebo airport. All 9 people on board were killed. Authorities said that everyone on board the crashed plane has died. As per authorities and Arebo County Governor Maria Larsson, the aircraft was carrying the pilot and 8 passengers, all of whom were members of a local skydiving club. According to Peter Swaffer, a department manager at the Swedish Accident Investigation Authority, the plane didn't get up very high before it went down to the left on the runway. Carl Johan Linde, a spokesperson for the Swedish Maritime Administration, said the disaster had to have happened in connection with the plane's departure. The mishap was reported around 7:30 p.m., and Prime Minister Stefan Löfven said that he learned of the crash with great sadness and dismay. 4. Self-sacrifice. Elijah Aronce's experience is one of disaster, triumph, and self-sacrifice. This incident is noteworthy since he was just 14 years old when the skydiving catastrophe happened. It was November 2015, and Elijah Arance was all set to skydive in Goulburn, New South Wales, Australia. He was scheduled for a tandem jump with a coach responsible for taking him on the adventure, a 44-year-old expert, Tony Rokop. On a beautiful day that was perfect for skydiving, the two went out for a tandem jump, and during their descent, an unexpected blast of wind smacked the divers, causing their chute to fail. The man and the youngster crashed into each other and were very quickly closing in towards the surface in a near free fall. Tony Rokov, the instructor, had spent his whole life in the Australian military and was also a former Special Forces diver. He managed to tuck himself beneath the youngster and pulled the boy over himself as they continued to come crashing down towards the ground. This brave act provided the boy a barrier between himself and the impacting surface. When the two crashed, paramedics raced to the scene. The officer's heroic act had miraculously spared Elijah Aranza's life. Rokov died in the most heroic way military personnel would. He gave up his life to save another. Tony Rokov was posthumously honored with the Star of Courage, an honor bestowed upon just 170 Australians since the 1970s. Have you tried skydiving? While these accidents are terrifying, most jumps are excellent fun and uneventful. Share your experiences with us in the comments below. Loving this video? Don't forget to give us a like and a share. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. 3. Father of two died. A man's holiday turned tragic when a tandem skydiving jump in the Great Grand Canyon resulted in a catastrophe. Christopher Swalls was offered the trip as a beautiful 30th anniversary gift from his loving wife Deborah in 2019. He traveled from the United Kingdom for his much-awaited jump into the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon has drawn skydivers from all corners of the world as it offers some of the most spectacular aerial views possible. But in this case, it turned out to be a nightmare. Swalls had booked a package from Paragon Skydive Institute and was scheduled to jump with the firm's instructor. Though most of the leap went well, soon they found themselves in a free fall, closing in on the landing zone, way sooner than they'd anticipated. Officials claim they landed hard. Swalls died on the spot after suffering grievous injuries, and the instructor, Matthew McConnell, fractured his leg. An inquiry later revealed that Swalls had died of blunt force injuries. According to the detectives who studied the parachute, they discovered patches sewn into the cloth near the tip of the chute. The material's defect holes appear to be ringed to detect movement. According to a statement released by the owner of Paragon Skydiving, Jason Thuma, who organized the jump, he saw no trouble with the chute during the descent. He believed the instructor panicked as he approached land, executing a forceful left turn, and the chute was thrown off balance and took a sharp turn downwards. After weighing all the possibilities and the probabilities of the accident, it was concluded that Swalls' death was purely accidental. It seems that's how tandem landings sometimes work, when one person perishes while the other survives. 2. Stuck in power lines. Sometime this year, a Californian skydiver's parachute got caught in live power wires, and he was left dangling 30 feet above the ground for at least an hour. According to local news, the mystery parachuter was left entangled in the wires for approximately 60 minutes in Lake Elsinore, California's southern region. The identity of the diver remains unclear. Power technicians and emergency personnel worked to release the guy, who was seen hanging in the wind with a yellow parachute opened above him. This is in several social media photographs. The individual was hauled down utilizing a bucket lift. Firefighters examined the untangled man and evacuated him to a local hospital by ground ambulance. He suffered minor injuries to his lower limbs. The parachute was later removed from the wires by Southern California Edison. Once he touched down, footage of the rescue showed the guy limping around from the injuries he had suffered. He was lucky to have escaped with minor injuries. Considering he fell over the power lines, all of us know that things could have gone in an extremely unfortunate different direction. 1. A 9,000 feet free fall. After being entangled in his chute while attempting a challenging jump, a skydiver plummeted from a height of 9,000 feet. And guess what? He survived. Yes, he did survive, but he was left with several shattered bones and a brain injury. Victor Brahe, 27, of Winter Haven, Florida, had planned to perform the canopy relative work technique with another skydiver, Sean Phillips, also 27, of the United Kingdom. This technique requires the skydivers to pile their parachutes below the other as part of the joint cruise mid-air formation. Phillips had said that he and Brahe both leaped from 14,000 feet. Phillips was above Brahe at 9,000 feet and reported that Brahe came up beneath him too quickly with an open chute. The lines of the parachute entrapped both men. Phillips' parachute was still available as they fell, but Brahe's was entirely closed in. The collision occurred in 2018, and Brahe was discovered crashing along a fence by county authorities. Brahe was whirling horizontally and was completely bound by his own chute lines. His parachute was only half open. Phillips, on the other hand, was able to release himself at roughly 3,000 feet. Brahe was flown to the nearest hospital by helicopter, where he was found to have suffered several fractured bones and an internal brain injury. He was later found to be in a severe but fair condition. Skydiving is a thrilling experience for adrenaline junkies seeking their next big high. However, it sometimes can have dire consequences. Out of all the stories, which one surprised you the most? Share with us in the comments section below. Make sure you hit the bell icon for more updates, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.